Okay, let's unpack this. We're not just diving into a book today. We're stepping back into a world that is, well, literally tearing itself apart, picking up precisely where N.K. Jemisin left us in the 5th season. Today, our deep dive is all about the Obelisk Gate. It's the astonishing second book in her monumental Broken Earth Trilogy. And based on what you were looking for, the insights from your notes and sources, we really wanted to zero in on how this book isn't just a continuation. It's a seismic shift. It redefines everything we thought we knew about this universe and about survival itself. So our mission today is to guide you through its intricate, really emotionally charged plot. We'll delve into the compelling characters, explore its unique, kind of ravaged setting, and unpack the profound themes that make this story just so incredibly impactful. We want to make sure you grasp the core insights and the emotional weight of this truly remarkable narrative.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating right from the start, and this definitely came through in the material, is how Jemisin immediately sets up this divided narrative. Divided, but, deeply connected. We're thrown back into Essun's desperate journey, sure, but then in parallel, we get her daughter Nassun's path, which is equally critical and honestly heart-wrenching. And this dual structure, it's not just like a cool writing technique, it's profound foreshadowing. It promises both convergence, definitely, but also potential conflict. Big conflict.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into that narrative because it is rich.
Yeah.
So much emotional weight and the stakes are just gut-wrenching. When we last saw Essun, the world had just suffered this unimaginable cataclysm, the severing, a literal tearing of the continent. Now in the Obelisk Gate, she finds a new beginning. It's fragile, definitely fragile, but it's a start in a place called
Castrema, yeah.
And this isn't just another underground comm, It's a sanctuary, a subterranean city built right into the ancient remnants of some forgotten civilization. But Essun isn't just, hiding there. She's learning to harness her truly immense orogenic powers, specifically trying to control these mysterious ancient floating obelisks, the ones orbiting the planet like these deadly silent moons.
Right.
They're not just artifacts, they are vital to the very survival or maybe the destruction of the world itself.
And this is where the narrative really expands, doesn't it? It gets even more gripping because then there's Nassun, Essun's daughter. She miraculously survived that cataclysm, and her journey is just as compelling and, frankly, profoundly unsettling. She's traveling with Guardian Shafa.
Oh, Shafa. Yeah.
Now, if you remember the 5th season, Guardians were the state-sanctioned oppressors of Orogenians, right? Ruthless enforcers. Shafa was Essun's former mentor and also undeniably her abuser. But in this book, something has fundamentally changed him. He's different.
How so?
Well, what's really striking is how Shafa, in this altered, almost sort of ethereal state, surprisingly helps Nassun. He helps her unlock her own incredible orogenic powers in ways Essun herself never could. It's a really morally ambiguous partnership, putting mildly.
Okay, so that's where the central conflict truly ramps up. It becomes this literal race against planetary collapse. Essun has this desperate, all-consuming need to master the obelisks. She believes they're the key to averting total planetary destruction, maybe a way to restabilize this broken world. But then you have Nassun's power. It's rapidly evolving, it's raw, and it's being guided by this changed Shafa. And her power holds the potential to either heal the world or, terrifyingly, to shatter it beyond repair. The stakes aren't just global anymore, they're intensely personal. The planet's fate tied up with this fractured mother-daughter relationship.
Exactly, and that really forms the emotional, the thematic core of the struggle. Both mother and daughter are wrestling not just with their incredible abilities, these burgeoning powers, but profoundly with their pasts, their trauma, their grief, their deeply held convictions. And this forces them, and really it forces you as the reader to confront this monumental choice. Do you try to save a world that seems irrevocably broken? A world that's caused so much suffering? Or do you choose to remake it entirely? Even if that means destroying what's left to build something new, it's a question that just hangs over everything.
And what a world it is. The Stillness, as we know it, is just plunging deeper into this violent, unending 5th season. Ash and ruin are everywhere like a perpetual winter. Humanity is clinging to this fragile existence in isolated comms. These small, self-sufficient communities constantly battling the elements, the seismic instability. Honestly, reading this book makes me completely rethink complaining about a bad weather day. A 5th season sounds like, perpetual Monday morning, but with actual ash and doom.
Yeah, pretty much. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the settings in the Obelisk Gate are crucial. It's not just backdrop, it's character, it's philosophy. Take Castrema, Essun's refuge. It's an engineering marvel, an underground city built within the remnants of this unimaginably advanced older civilization, and its unique philosophy of inclusion, where origins and stills, those without the earth-moving powers, try to coexist as equals. That's revolutionary for this world.
Truly.
It's powered by this geoengineered tech tied directly to the obelisks, which highlights a potential path forward. But it's still fraught with tension, you know. Under the surface, it offers this fragile blueprint for maybe a better future if humanity can embrace it.
Right, and then you contrast that with Nassun's destination, the found moon, which, just to be clear, isn't a literal moon. It's this mysterious southern sanctuary specifically for orogenic children.
Mm-hmm.
And his teachings are less rigid, less overtly brutal than the fulcrum from the first book. We remember the fulcrum. Extreme discipline, violence. But the found moon's philosophy feels, I don't know, potentially even more insidious, maybe more dangerous, especially in how it aims to shape these young origins and their perception of their power.
That stark contrast, Castrima versus the found moon, it really deepens our understanding of the stillness and the different human responses to this ongoing cataclysm. It shows us attempts at genuine coexistence and healing, like Castrima, but it also reveals places that might seek to weaponize orogenic power, like the found moon seems poised to do, rather than integrate it. It truly forces you to question which path is sustainable and which might lead to even greater devastation down the line.
But beyond the landscapes, beyond the looming cataclysms, it's the characters. Their raw, visceral experiences are what really bring this world to life. Essun, our protagonist, she's incredibly changed from book one. You mentioned the emotional toll earlier, and here she's definitely hardened, more introspective, clearly still grieving her profound losses, but also, wow, increasingly powerful. She's coming to grips with her role in this much broader cosmic conflict, something that stretches way beyond human comprehension. She's less of a chosen one, more of a reluctant hero, driven by loss and this desperate hope of finding her daughter.
And Nassun's internal conflict is equally, maybe even more compelling. She's profoundly traumatized by her past. I mean, the murder of her brother by her father.
Unimaginable.
And the perceived abandonment by her mother. She carries this deep sense of betrayal, and that fuels her journey. But then she finds this unexpected and often morally ambiguous guidance in Shafa. Her journey is all about coming to terms with her own immense power, her identity, her place in this fractured world. And often that puts you in direct opposition to everything Essun believes.
And Shafa. His transformation is one of those fascinating and, ambiguous parts of the book. He was this ruthless guardian, right? The embodiment of systemic oppression.
Exactly.
But now he's fundamentally altered, almost purified, by this mysterious force they call the core. He becomes Nassun's mentor, guides her power, but his true motives, they remain deliciously ambiguous.
Yeah.
You're constantly wondering, what are his true intentions? What exactly is he now?
And this raises such an important question, doesn't it? About our perceptions of others, about their capacity for change, for redemption, especially when faced with extreme circumstances. And beyond Essun, Nassun, and Shafa, we have crucial roles played by Alabaster Tenring and Hoa.
Right, Alabaster.
Alabaster, Essun's former lover, mentor, father of one of her children. He's dying from the strain of his incredible power. But before he goes, he tasks Essun with mastering the Obelisk Gate, which he reveals is the key, the mechanism to rewriting the world's fate.
A huge burden to place on her.
Immense. And then there's Hoa, the enigmatic stone eater accompanying Essun. His quiet, loyal, ancient presence constantly hints at deeper truths about the Stillness's real history, the identity of orogens, their ultimate destiny. He's like a living, breathing geological record. It's fascinating.
The themes in this book, they just hit so hard. They resonate with profound real-world issues. And Jemisin doesn't just present them. She dissects them with surgical precision. Power and control is huge. It's not just that power is controlled. The real insight is how she dissects the insidious nature of systemic control, revealing how even seemingly protective systems, like the fulcrum, actually dehumanize and exploit. It forces you to ask, is it the control itself, rather than the raw power of orogens, that's the truly destructive force here?
Couldn't agree more. And then there's motherhood and legacy. Explored so profoundly through Essun and Nassun's parallel stories, it delves deep into generational trauma, how the pain and choices of one generation just ripple down to the next. It's about deep, often really complicated love, and these complex, frequently fraught relationships between mothers and daughters, especially when both are powerful, traumatized, and trying to forge their own paths in this incredibly hostile world. It feels emotionally raw, incredibly real.
So real. And Tying into that is the central dilemma, survival versus transformation.
Yeah.
Characters are constantly grappling with this. Is it better to just try and survive within a broken system?
Yeah.
Just endure the devastation? Or is the only true, maybe the only ethical path forward to actively destroy that system and remake it entirely? It's a question that feels incredibly resonant today, doesn't it? Do you fix the cracks or do you tear down the whole wall?
And this leads us right to environmental collapse, which isn't some future threat in this series. It's terrifyingly present. The narrative takes you deep into humanity's fragile, often adversarial relationship with the Earth itself. The planet has literally become an adversary, constantly lashing out with quakes, with ash. It starkly illustrates the dire consequences of mistreatment, of exploitation. The planet fights back, and the characters have to decide, try to appease it, or find a way to dominate it. Neither feels easy.
Not at all. And finally, there's forgiveness and identity. You see this explored through Shafa's radical arc, his transformation, through Nassun's intense internal conflict about her past, the trauma she carries, and through Essun's lingering guilt over her choices, her losses. It really pushes you to question, can people truly change? Do they deserve forgiveness? And who really gets to define your identity when you're facing such overwhelming circumstances? It's not simple for any of them.
Jemisin's narrative style, her technique, it's just masterful and daring. It's a key reason these books resonate so deeply. For Essun's chapters, she famously keeps using that second-person narration, addressing you directly.
It's just so intense.
It creates this incredible immersive intimacy. You don't just read about Essun's experiences, you feel like you are Essun, experiencing her thoughts, her traumas, her desperate choices right alongside her.
It is so effective, almost claustrophobic, that immediacy.
Yeah.
Then for Nassun, she switches. It's a more traditional third-person limited narration, which offers a slightly more distanced view, maybe, but still deeply emotionally resonant. It lets us witness Nassun's growth, her increasingly complex relationship with Shafa, and her own immense power.
And what truly stands out here is how that structural choice, that shifting perspective, mirrors the fractured nature of the world itself. It also profoundly heightens the tension, the emotional stakes. You're constantly anticipating that eventual convergence, or maybe, the seismic clash between mother and daughter, a moment that feels both inevitable and absolutely terrifying. Jemisin also brilliantly blends mythology, sci-fi, high fantasy, with prose that is both lyrical and sharp. Poetic in description, but unflinching when confronting harsh truths. She really doesn't pull punches.
No, she doesn't. And her world building is just, it's organic, breathtaking. You don't get those awkward info dumps here. It's a real testament to her skill. Details about this ravaged world, its ancient technologies, its hidden history that are revealed naturally. Through what characters do, through fragmented conversations, through these haunting remnants of lost civilizations, it really fosters a sense of discovery for you, the reader, like you're piecing together the mysteries of the Stillness right alongside them.
And the critical reception for the Obelisk Gate, overwhelmingly positive, a true testament to its power. It won the 2017 Hugo Award for Best Novel, which was historic in itself. N.K. Jemisin became the first author ever to win back-to-back Hugos for consecutive books in a trilogy.
That's incredible, almost unheard of.
It really is.
Critics specifically praised the brilliant expansion of themes from Book 1, the profound emotional depth they found in Nassun's storyline, Jemisin's elegant handling of those dual perspectives. And they lauded her continued subversion of traditional fantasy norms, particularly around race, gender, power dynamics, proving that diverse narratives absolutely lead to universal truths.
Which raises an important question, I think. What does it mean for a work to be considered not just a strong sequel, but a transcendent continuation, something that actually deepens an entire trilogy's impact? Many critics felt the Obelisk Gate didn't just hold its own, it actually elevated the entire Broken Earth series, elevated it to new heights, really solidifying its status as a truly genre-defining work that reshaped what fantasy could be.
And that really brings our deep dive into the Obelisk Gate towards a close. It's such a rare sequel. It doesn't just advance the plot, it elevates the entire narrative, adding layers of philosophical and emotional complexity that just grab you and absolutely do not let go. It's a journey through grief, through power, and that desperate search for connection in a dying world.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, the book's core provocative question really lingers, doesn't it, long after you finish reading. Is this world worth saving? Or is it maybe time to reshape it entirely? It challenges us, to consider our own complicity in broken systems, the difficult choices forced on us by trauma, and the immense courage it takes to imagine and maybe build something radically different.
It really does. We definitely encourage you to reflect on that powerful message and its real-world implications. What does it truly mean to break or build systems? In your own life, in society? Jemisin makes you confront that head-on.
And if you're anything like us, after experiencing these seismic shifts in Book 2, you'll be eagerly anticipating the conclusion. The final installment, The Stone Sky, promises to bring all these threads together, answering the ultimate question of the Stillness's fate and the profound destiny of Essun and Nassun.
Yeah, the enduring power of speculative fiction like Jemisin's is just that. It doesn't just tell a story. It profoundly challenges how you think about the world, about power, about humanity's place within it all. It's truly an experience, and one we highly recommend you dive into yourself if you haven't already.